Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to explore the recent developments surrounding Hamas and why it is under immense pressure, as reported in the Jerusalem Dateline. On August 19, 2025, this situation has been building for months. Now we can clearly see the layers of challenges that are pushing Hamas into one of its most vulnerable positions in years. To understand this better, we will break it down in terms of the external environment it faces, the internal conditions within Gaza, its overall performance, the question of safety, the unique points it once had, the heavy cost of the conflict, and finally what this all means going forward. On the outside, Hamas is surrounded by adversaries and shifting dynamics. Israel has continued to enhance its military strength and intelligence reach, tightening its control along the borders and using advanced technologies to intercept rockets and disrupt operations. Egypt, which has historically had a complex relationship with Gaza, is also applying pressure by reinforcing its own border security and reducing smuggling networks that once gave Hamas breathing space. At the same time, Arab states that were once sympathetic are now focused on new diplomatic strategies and economic partnerships that prioritize stability over confrontation. The international stage is also critical, as Western governments push for accountability and humanitarian access, leaving Hamas increasingly isolated. Inside Gaza, the picture is deeply troubling. Ordinary people are facing dire shortages of electricity, food, and medical supplies. The infrastructure is crumbling, unemployment is sky high, and families are living under constant strain. Hamas is still present and active, but its ability to govern effectively is being questioned by many. The population that once rallied behind the idea of resistance is now divided, with many demanding more focus on survival and basic needs rather than endless confrontation. This erosion of local support creates a dangerous dynamic for Hamas, as no group can maintain power indefinitely without the confidence of its own people. When looking at performance, Hamas is no longer as effective as it once was. Militarily, it can still launch attacks and project power, but these efforts are often met with swift and decisive countermeasures by Israel. Its regional influence is weaker compared to previous years, and its political messaging is less convincing in a world that is increasingly leaning towards negotiated peace deals. The leadership of Hamas has struggled to adapt to this changing landscape, and that lack of adaptation has reduced its overall performance on both the battlefield and in the political arena. Safety remains one of the greatest concerns in this entire situation. For Israel, the constant investment in systems like the Iron Dome and other defense measures has ensured that its citizens are relatively safer from incoming rockets. Though tensions and fears still exist. In Gaza, however, safety is nearly non-existent. Civilians live in overcrowded conditions with little protection against strikes, shortages of safe shelters, and limited access to humanitarian relief. The contrast between the protective measures of Israel and the lack of safeguards in Gaza is stark, and it highlights how ordinary people end up paying the highest price in conflicts driven by leadership decisions. Hamas has long marketed itself on the unique selling point of being the symbol of resistance. For decades, this identity has been the core of its appeal, allowing it to gather followers, funding, and legitimacy among certain groups. But now that image is under pressure. As more countries in the region seek normalization with Israel, the idea of continuous resistance is becoming less attractive, even outdated. This weakens Hamas' standing, as it risks being left behind while the region shifts towards new priorities like economic growth and cooperation. Its identity as the voice of defiance is not disappearing overnight, but it is losing its power to inspire as it once did. The price of all of this is immense. For Hamas itself, the cost is isolation, declining credibility, and a narrowing path forward. For Gaza's civilians, the cost is devastating destroyed infrastructure, deepening poverty, lack of opportunities, and the psychological toll of living through unending cycles of violence. For Israel, the price comes in constant military expenditures, social tension, and the heavy responsibility of maintaining national security. On the global scale, the price is seen in humanitarian efforts that are constantly strained, and in the failure to build lasting peace in one of the world's most fragile regions. Taking all of this into account, the conclusion is clear. Hamas in 2025 is under immense pressure from every angle. Externally, it is surrounded by stronger enemies and less supportive allies. Internally, it is weakened by the hardships faced by its own people. and in terms of performance, it is no longer delivering the results it once boasted. Its unique message of resistance is losing impact, and the costs of continuing its current path are rising for everyone involved. The future of Hamas will depend on whether it adapts to these realities or continues to struggle against forces that are far greater than its current capacity. The situation is dynamic, but one thing is certain: the pressure is real, and it is reshaping the landscape of the conflict in ways that will have lasting consequences for both the people of Gaza and the wider region.